If you're like me, discovering Superhot VR was a game changer. The first time I played it, I spent an entire night glued to my Oculus, obsessively trying to beat just 1 or 2 levels. If that sounds familiar, this guide is for you. In this piece, I'll share strategies and tips that will help you conquer any level in Superhot VR. First, let's talk about what makes Superhot VR such an addictive experience. Available for $25 on the Oculus Store, Superhot VR is not your typical first-person shooter. The game's genius lies in its core mechanic: time moves only when you do. This simple concept transforms every moment into a strategic puzzle. It's not just about quick reflexes, it's about outsmarting enemies, planning your moves, and executing them with precision. In Superhot VR, there are a variety of modes to keep you entertained. You've got the classic campaign with levels that have defined endpoints, endless modes where enemies keep coming, and even specialty modes like headshot-only challenges. Each mode offers a unique twist on gameplay, but the foundation remains the same: mastering the flow of time is the key to victory. Most players tend to skim over the game's description or the tutorial, but that one defining rule, that time only moves when you move, is much more important than it seems. It's not just a gimmick. It's the heart of the game. Understanding and fully utilizing this mechanic will make or break your success. If you're struggling to beat a level, slow down. Literally. Stand still in the game and analyze the situation around you. What are your enemies doing? Where are the threats coming from? What tools or weapons are within reach? Taking a moment to strategize instead of panicking will completely change how you approach difficult situations. This leads me to my first and most critical tip: don't rush. It might feel instinctive to dive into the action, but Superhot VR rewards patience and precision. Stopping to observe your surroundings and planning your next move is arguably the most powerful skill you can develop in this game. Now, let's talk about practice. Like any game, Superhot VR has mechanics that take some getting used to. One of the trickiest things to master is throwing objects. At first glance, it seems simple: you grab an object, aim, and toss it. But in reality, throwing in Superhot VR is a delicate art. The key is to throw in slow motion. If you try to throw an object quickly, your aim will likely be off, and your movement will speed up the game, giving enemies more time to act. Before releasing any object, always check your surroundings. Is there a bullet flying toward you? Are there enemies close enough to hit you while you're distracted? The act of throwing requires precision, timing, and situational awareness. One thing many players don't realize is that throwing objects, even something as small as a coffee cup, can be just as effective as firing a gun. While it's true that throwing is inherently riskier since it speeds up the game, it's also a long-range tactic that can save your life when used strategically. The trick is to practice your aim and timing. When done correctly, you can knock weapons out of enemies' hands or eliminate them outright, all without firing a single shot. But let's be real, even the best throwers will eventually run out of objects to toss. This brings me to my next tip: know when to use cover and manipulate time. If you find yourself out of ammo and low on throwable items, don't panic. Instead, find cover and use your arms to control the flow of time. By rapidly punching the air in a controlled motion, you can speed up the game and lure enemies into close range. This technique is risky, but it can be a lifesaver when executed properly. While punching to manipulate time can be useful, it's not without its dangers. The faster you move, the faster your enemies move too. If you're not careful, you could end up with an enemy right in your face, ready to strike before you can react. That's why staying in cover is crucial. Cover not only protects you from enemy fire, but also gives you a chance to slow things down and reassess the situation. Many players make the mistake of thinking they can simply dodge bullets in the open, but this often leads to speeding up the game too much, making it harder to react. Another important point to consider is how your actions directly influence the flow of time. Shooting a gun, for example, is one of the fastest ways to accelerate the game. Every action you take, whether it's throwing an object, firing a weapon, or even moving your hands, affects how much time progresses. This means that every decision you make has to be deliberate. As you gain more experience with Superhot VR, you'll start to develop a rhythm. You'll learn how to chain actions together seamlessly, picking up a weapon, dodging an incoming attack, and eliminating multiple enemies in a single, fluid sequence. This kind of mastery takes time and practice, but it's incredibly satisfying when you pull it off. To summarize, here are the key takeaways for mastering Superhot VR. 1. Take your time. The game is designed for strategy, not speed. Use the pause and time to plan your moves. 2. Practice throwing objects. Slow motion throws are a game changer when you run out of ammo or weapons. 3. Be aware of your surroundings. Always check for incoming bullets or enemies before committing to an action. 4. Use cover to your advantage. It's not just about dodging, it's about creating a safe space to strategize. 5. Manipulate time wisely. Every action speeds up the game, so think carefully before you move. At its core, Superhot VR is a game of strategy, patience, and precision. It's not about rushing and guns blazing. It's about staying calm under pressure, analyzing the battlefield, and making calculated decisions. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned player, these tips will help you approach the game with a fresh perspective and conquer even the toughest levels. And remember, practice makes perfect. The more you play, the better you'll get at anticipating enemy movements, managing your resources, and mastering the art of time manipulation. Before long, you'll be pulling off moves that feel like they belong in an action movie. So, if you've spent countless hours struggling to beat a single level, don't get discouraged. Slow down, strategize, and trust the process. With enough practice, you'll be dominating Superhot VR in no time. Thank you for watching my video. If you got this far, comment on what game I should make a video on next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.